What is up, everybody? This is Steve Breach coming to you here early morning. Yesterday, as I was leaving the dentist appointment, I made the video about the WWE Hall of Fame is going to be happening. It looks like the WWE is going to be naming their Hall of Famers quick and fast. The Great Muta was the name that was out there yesterday. It turns out that he wasn't even the first person nominated or named. They went with Rey Mysterio, which to me, I don't want this to come off as negative. I don't want this to come off as I don't think Rey Mysterio is the guy that should be going in. But Rey Mysterio is still an active wrestler on the SmackDown roster. He's more than likely going to be wrestling on Wrestlemania. Are they going to make the Rey Mysterio match a career match? Is it a lot like when they inducted Ric Flair into the WrestleMania Hall of Fame during WrestleMania 24, and then he went out the next night and he lost the match to Shawn Michaels, the career match. I don't want to come off saying like people that go into the WWE Hall of Fame should be 100%, out of the business or not wrestling anymore. I mean, to me, I honestly thought that Lita went into the Hall of Fame at WrestleMania 27 because I remember being there for her speech. But maybe somebody told me that she went in at 30 and I was wrong. But one way or another, she's in there and she's wrestling in the tag match. And she's even the tag champion right now. So I don't want to come off and say, like, if you're in the Hall of Fame, you shouldn't be wrestling anymore or anything like that. But Rey Mysterio, one hell of a Hall of Famer. I just didn't know that he was retired. It's a lot like, with baseball. You got to be retired from the game for, I believe, 4 years before you get inducted in. And this guy still wrestling matches, still getting his holidays blown up by Dominic Mysterio. But Rey Mysterio, in my world, came on the scene. I think I first realized who he was in the WCW video games. He was almost like a little Spider-Man, a guy that just, was fast, made impactful matches. If you're wrestling against your buddy, could almost beat anybody on the roster. Didn't matter if you were there, Kevin Nash, Booker T, Stevie Ray, some of the bigger guys that were involved in the game. Then I started paying attention. A lot of people say that Rey Mysterio had some of the best matches that weren't main events. For WCW. The first one that comes to mind would be the Eddie Guerrero match at Halloween Havoc. He just had that whole band of luchador guys that he could just go out there and go with. It didn't matter if it was like Psychosis, Super Crazy. He got down with all those guys. But I'll tell you this much. When WCW closed, I don't know if they were letting it breathe or what it was, but I remember a lot of the wrestlers, Matt Hardy for one, was telling Vince, you got to sign this guy. You got to bring him in. He could be the face of this cruiserweight division. When they finally brought him in, I remember it was on the a 4th of July episode of SmackDown, and he went and he wrestled a match. I believe it was against Chavo. Came out later in the night, interrupting the Un-Americans. That was Lance Storm, Chris Jericho, and Test in the Christian. Christian was in that group. Who am I putting in there is not in there? I don't think Jericho was in there. I think it was just Christian, Test, and Lance Storm. Came and interrupted their cage match at the end. It looked like he was going to be a really big deal. He ended up, being in that cruiserweight division, but he never really was the face of it. I know he was at WrestleMania 20. He dressed up like the Flash. But it took a couple years. But when Eddie Guerrero died, he sort of became the face of that cruiserweight division. He would go on and fight the fight for Eddie. He would win the title that night, and that was honestly a really big surprise for him to be able to take the title in that match with Kurt Angle and Randy Orton. But his star just kept on rising. I thought that the feud that he had with Batista, where Batista sort of got I guess, jealous of his friend. The matchups were believable. And, he does spots where he plays the small guy, like, oh, poor me, and he gets beat up, sort of like he did, like, with, like, the SummerSlam 2010, where Kane kept on saying that he killed his brother, The Undertaker, and then it ended up being that, Rey Mysterio wasn't even involved. It was Kane the whole time, even though Kane was the guy trying to hunt down who was the one who did it, OJ, much. Ray won the title at Money in the Bank, didn't he? Yeah, and then he got cashed in on immediately. So I know he got another title run in there, but the guy's running the wrestling business is huge. Seen it all, done it all. I'm just surprised that he would take it. I guess one of his friends, Conan, who's not, with WWE at this time, but the WWE is saying that it's cool with them if Conan puts him in. Conan was one of the biggest names in the business when he hooked up with WCW. It ended up being like the guy that was plugging WCW with a lot of these names that was there. So Conan's one of the reasons that we all know who Rey Mysterio is today. But, he had his trouble with WWE. Ray left. He went to Lucha Underground. I think he was there for the last season of that show before it sort of got closed down. He did stuff with Mexico, did Triplemania and things like that before, finally coming back. And it was honestly kind of like, man, if you wanted to leave so bad, why are you wanting to come back? But he even did All In. So I wonder why he didn't go back. It must have been that like WWE's offer was so much bigger than AEW's, or I doubt it. If he worked, the All In show, if he would just really think that they really wouldn't do it. Think of the stuff that he could be doing with the Lucha Brothers right now, whether if he was with them or against them. It'd be one hell of a way to do it. But Rey Mysterio, WWE Hall of Fame. I'm surprised by it, but I think it's really awesome that he's going in.